Good morning and welcome to the AM News. My name is Kimeli Nyamani. Amanana headlines. Rapid bus transit system to commence in mid-December 2014 with 86 buses. Also to come, majority of MPs vote to dismiss call for Parliament to probe Black Stars campaign in Brazil. We'll also take a look at how Ghanaians have received the increase in fuel and transport fares. Now let me take you through the detail. The first phase of the bus rapid transit system will commence in mid-December 2014 with 86 buses. Accra Mayor Alfred Okuvandapoy has announced the Amasaman-Tudu Corridor Road will begin the project as government secures funding to begin phase 2 in 2015. Etonom Say has more.
The initial date for the first phase of the project to begin was 1st July 2014. At a press briefing Monday morning, Accra Mayor Alfred Okuvandapoy explains why the process is delayed.
We knew going forward about the challenges at hand. We knew we had to take the data of, like you said, the last question said, about the population that will have to depend on this new innovative implementation. We knew that there were challenges around even acquisition of the new buses. How many buses? And then the biggest of all, the challenges around the implementation of the infrastructure, the road infrastructure that must take place. So we set the July target to ensure that we will move expeditiously to get to this implementation. And I'm very happy to announce that standing at where we are now, we have crossed all the T's and dotted all of our I's to make sure that when this program goes into implementation, it will be one of the best being implemented in Africa. And at this stage, I can say that we have accomplished that.
Although the BRT was in 4 phases, Amasaman to CBD, Adenta to CBD, Kaswa to CBD, and Tema through the beach and Amasaman to the Central Business District, commuters from Amasaman and its environs will be the first to enjoy the new transport reforms. Transport Minister Jifo Ativo explained the project has incorporated every need in the transport sector, from training of drivers to maintenance workshops for the vehicles, costs involved, and all other issues.
They are going to train the drivers. Any driver who operates will undergo training. They will wear uniforms. I mean, everything has been structured in such a way that the drivers who are driving trotro now will even be better off, because they will be given skills training for them to feel comfortable. They will work on some number of hour basis. It's not the usual system where a driver will get up, go to work maybe 5 a.m. and close around 10 o'clock, very exhausted. This one, it will be run on shift basis. So it is not just going to put a bus on a road. This is a complete project with all the IT infrastructure that I talked about, the driver training, support by the scanner of spare parts, and all that you need to deliver an efficient BRT system.
Jifa Ativo assured since infrastructure improvements alone will not yield the necessary benefits, the intended reforms are holistically addressing the institutional, regulatory, and industrial challenges experienced.
About 500 Liberia refugees living in a part of the Liberia refugee camp Zone 5 appealing to government to intervene in a planned demolition soon to hit the area. The Liberians have been served notices by authorities of the St. Gregory Catholic Hospital to vacate their houses to pave way for the expansion of the health facility in the camp. The St. Gregory Catholic Hospital, run by the Catholic Church, is the only health facility in the Liberia refugee camp. It serves all refugees in and around the camp, including illegal Ghanaian settlers. It also serves many others in Gomwafete in the central region. An Accra-based radio station reports the administrator of the St. Gregory Catholic Hospital, Matthias Ayegre Anaba, are saying the hospital's management has secured 5.02 acres of land in the camp to expand its facilities. The expansion works, he said, will commence soon, which is expected to affect structures close by. He's also reported as saying the hospital's management and officers of the Budumburum Refugee Settlement Office have both sensitized the residents on the issue, giving them an ultimatum to vacate their houses by July 2014. Back in Accra, majority members of parliament have voted to dismiss a minority motion calling for a parliamentary probe into the Black Stars campaign in Brazil. 96 majority MPs voted to dismiss the motion in Monday's emergency sitting. The Speaker, Duaja, however, criticized what he described as government's attempt to railroad Parliament in the matter.
The motion by MP for Achimampunia, Isaac Isiama, to set up a bipartisan parliamentary committee of inquiry to investigate happenings in Ghana's campaign at the just-ended World Cup was immediately objected to by Minister for Youth and Sports Mahama Ayariga, who indicated President John Dramani Mahama has, by a constitutional instrument, set up a commission of inquiry into the matter. He explained there was therefore no need for Parliament to consider a motion to set up another committee and pray the Speaker to dismiss the motion. This, however, generated a heated argument on the floor, with some minority members describing the move as a deliberate attempt to stifle the work of Parliament.
I'm saying that if we look at the powers of this House in relation to establishing a body to inquire into matters of public importance, there is an express constitutional provision, and that express constitutional provision is the Article 278, which I referred you to. And that constitutional provision states what powers this House has in relation to the establishment of commissions of inquiry. And I'm saying that the appropriate motion would have been a motion to ask the President to set up a commission of inquiry into this matter of public importance. And I'm saying that given that the President has already set up that commission under a constitutional instrument, then it makes the movement of this motion mute.
Mr. Speaker, after the Honorable Member for Boku Central and the Minister for Youth and Sports had come to this House to state, to bring to the House's attention that he had set up an administrative inquiry, today he comes here and draws our attention to the fact that on the 11th, which probably was a day after he made the statement, His Excellency the President, probably based on the advice of his minister, who came to this House to make a statement that he has set up an administrative inquiry in respect of the Black Stars participation, there's been a CR. Does it mean that the President is seeking to undermine the work of this House?
I'm indeed saddened that some people are not serious enough in this House that we should subordinate the power of Parliament to the Executive. How can we do that? Mr. Speaker, it is embarrassing to this House that some people do not even understand the difference between the Executive and the Legislature. What is the meaning of separation of powers? What they are inviting you to do, Mr. Speaker, that tear this Constitution into shreds, because it doesn't matter anymore. What is the dignity of this House?
The Speaker, after a lengthy argument between the minority and majority, admitted the motion and subsequently put it to a vote.
When I use the word bad faith, I use in relation to the objection taken by the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, because we were all in this House when he came to make a statement, and I made the statement that that does not prevent the motion being moved. So for me now to come back now to say that the motion cannot be moved will be in a bad faith. Honorable members, I will now put the question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, I want to use the discretion vested in me by Standing Order 1131 to call for a head count. The eyes, 76. The nose, 96.
Parliament also looked at the Finance Committee's report on a $300 million credit facility agreement between the Government of Ghana and VTB Capital PLC.
Now, an increase in the price of fuel and an upward review in fares on Monday resulted in some chaos between transport operators and commuters on the new fares. Petrol, diesel, kerosene saw an average increase of about 23%, while the transport fares also went up by 15%. Both commuters and the transport operators, however, are not happy with the increase in fares.
The road transport operators announced that effective Monday, July 14, transport fares will go up by 15%. This in a statement jointly signed by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, stated was reached after consultations between the Transport Ministry and the transport operators. But commuters at the Tema station here in Accra are unhappy they are having to pay more, especially when there have been little communication. They also accused the driver's assistants of inflating the fares.
I also want to petrol, I want to tax me. Can I tax me so much? Petrol so much. Don't you mean fair on that old fair in BM? So my fair for front of my Sako wants 80% so much. To money my thing. This is not fair and white thing. If we start from saying free woman, petrol matu, Tamana Basar.
As I say, no, sending a man, Yatutu and Yamano, and no fuel, no. They say, Ama, I had the Amai, if you say, see a fuel no ecosra. Yeah, Tony man, so be a cotton man, or no Sabatuni man. Oh, and it is a beer and there, Okone say, Yatu and Yamanuma also so bad, obeying Chrissy Unyamano, and the Tembiano, Emma Nipa, Yahochri.
One man come here and train, and I pay by a theatres. Here was the CSA for cities. Into one man and transfer, and she should be and can be my and Tiase and Yajuma. Young yet to say at 2 o'clock, and come the fair and Beba. So your ban or pay a 10 o'clock, stay in Tia for cities. Into a man of calling near my Yantiasia, now across Ramaya, what's train.
The commercial drivers were of the opinion the fare increases were not enough, especially when they were long overdue.
Driver for Nankasa, the Enyama. If we say Abaya to petrol, so more than we come 5 times. If you know the 15 pesos. As a moon say, Abaya who say, and your petrol one at the Yakajuma. You use tie, you use fuel, you use bread food, you use oil. You be increasing oil near ton 250 and then 400,000. So I just say, as a driver, Abaya who say, yeah, driver for yes, you're gonna for. So I just say. You tell us, but you tell school fees. You be our my moon. Yes, you tell me. About to see and do. And you know, no passing so the trouble. My one of the Maya. And you and Yankasa penny, the tomorrow, or 2 be a 2 city. I was here and so in fact 1,500 pence or so. Just I'm wild. Says I'm a quarter time, a quarter 3 million, and the cause is here, I say 4 million. So, it is I'm wild. Just you are in the Maya show. And it's a basana no. I'm wild. What's all in so we do my do I say, Amy, Ube Chasteka, Ube do Amy for me is beginner.
But a GPRTU welfare executive at the Tema station in Accra says strict measures are going to be applied to ensure commercial drivers adhere strictly to the published fares to avoid confrontation with passengers.
So you calculate the 15%. You allow the secretary and the station master to calculate the 15% to that type. Because of the 15%, you calculate it, then you reach about 4 cities, 60%. So you come back to 4 cities. Everybody should take the 15% from Monday going. So you have to accept it and move on. Okay. Oh no, because if the car came to the scale, the drivers, they will start to educate the passengers that now they increase the petrol, they give us percentage 15% to put on it. Because 15% you can't take all. So you break down, you give some to the passengers, you sacrifice for you people. So you educate them. So there's no problem now. Currently, we didn't hear anything about passenger and the driver on the mate. No.
The latest review, according to government, is partly because of the decision to stop subsidizing petroleum products. Matilda Homaga, for Joy News, Accra.
And motorists in the Wa municipality have also expressed worry about the increase in petroleum prices. Though they agree the price would have to go up, the 23% increase they say is inconsiderate. They tell Joy News the increase will have an adverse impact on their cost of living. Here's a report by Rafiq Salam.
Motorists in the Wa municipality say they are not surprised about the price hike in petroleum products because they expected it a couple of weeks ago when the commodity was difficult to come by in the region. They say they are, however, shocked by the level of increase.
It's just all mess. We are suffering. Actually, for you to get the fuel here is not easy. I have been around. I went about 3 places. I think Ramabus, Bamaho, a lot of places. I think all the fuel stations we in town. We've suffered. That's all. And while here, it's not making business well for us. Actually, we are suffering.
I understand they are owing some companies and stuff like that, and they started doing it. It's better to it. Or else productivity will be affected because look at the time I'm going there. It is the honesty of it. It's just it's something else. I mean, the government must sit up.
We are all looking up to the government. They are pleading that whatever means they can do to help us get fuel and do our rounds. Because the shortage is bringing business to a halt. Everybody has to move the work from line of fuel.
The 15% increase in transport fares also resulted in some disagreements between passengers and drivers. The disputes were also compounded by the difficulty in finding change for the passengers. Trotros plying the Wale Sombo and UDS Bamao campus, for instance, now charge 1 Ghana cedi instead of the approved 90 pesos. Rafiq Salam's reports from Wa for Joy News.
In a related development, former Chief Executive of the Volta River Authority and energy expert Dr. Charles Rekubrobe is challenging claims by government that petroleum products are being subsidized, insisting a casual consideration of the various elements making up the price will not support that claim. Speaking on today's big story, he questioned some of the elements in the price build-up, such as the Tema oil refinery levy and why consumers are being made to pay when the refinery is not working. He charged the National Petroleum Authority to come clean on this matter.
Let me tell you the problem. The problem is not petroleum prices going up. The whole economy is distorted when petroleum prices go up. Already transport has gone up. Food products will go up. Everything in this country will go up. And the effects of petroleum prices is to distort our economy. The city will fall further. And that is why the management of the petroleum prices is a very sensitive matter. People shouldn't act like automatons, like robots, and say that exchange rates have gone up, therefore prices have gone up. Don't forget, we have something called the stabilization fund, which we are taking from our crude oil revenues. It's important to protect the pricing of petroleum products because all the economic woes we face come from this increase in petroleum products. But the point I'm trying to make ultimately is that both America and Ghana buy petrol from the same international market. Why should we be paying more?
Now, some heads of senior high schools in the Ashanti region are proposing the government reconsiders its sanitary pad handout initiative contained in the secondary school improvement project and possibly channel the funds into other projects. Less than 1% of the $156 million loan from the World Bank will be used to finance the pad component to reduce the dropout rate among girls. But the heads who have been speaking to Joy News say there are likely to be problems with distribution of the pads. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
Government's intention to distribute sanitary pads to some deprived senior high schools in the country has become a national discussion over the past few weeks. While some Ghanaians share divergent views, others think it's a good initiative to increase school attendance among girls in the deprived communities. Most of the headmasters, though, are unclear about how the distribution will be done. The Adanwomasi Senior High Secondary School headmaster, for instance, fears the girls may be the subject of ridicule if they are to be distributed through the schools.
They were to purchase the pass and then deposit in the school with the headmaster or senior housemaster or even senior housemaster, and they ask the student girls to come and collect them. They may not even go because they may feel shy, because boys will be teasing them, hey, it's pass now, so that one will have its own challenges. The
intended beneficiaries themselves can't seem to find common ground, raising issues about brand taste and preference among others.
To me, it is not good and it's not fine for a male to give us pads. No, it is not good. And if he would be able to put that thing aside or stop giving us the pad and use the money that he's going to give us to do more things for the government, and that one will be very fine.
For me, I think the distribution of the pad is not a good act of the government. The reason being so is that when we come to the ladies' side, me for instance, let me say, to the ladies, most of the ladies, we have different pads that we used. Some use pretty, all right. We have different pads that we use, and the government cannot distribute only a pad, only one type of pad for us to use, all of us to use. Some, it will benefit them, others, it will not benefit them. And
the suggestion, therefore, is that government rather invest the money in a different area. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin Father's report from the Ashanti region.
Civil Society Network, the Third World Network, has condemned the decision of West African leaders to approve the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. According to them, the decision will lead to the collapse of local manufacturing sector and a further decline of the cedi, and is therefore asking parliamentarians not to ratify the agreement.
The EPA, which was taken at the 45th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government on July 10, 2014 in Accra, runs counter to the long-standing views and positions expressed by several groups, including United Nations and the African Union. For the Third World Network, which has been very vocal on the matter, the heads of state have failed to listen to their citizens.
For the heads of state not to listen to all these stakeholders, talk about the Christian Council, talk about the farmer-based organizations, talk about the African Union and the citizens of West Africa, the ordinary citizens of West Africa who are actually going to bear the brunt of this trade pact. Is actually unfortunate for us as a region. Now parliaments across the region will have to ratify the agreement, and since parliament is the citizens' representative, they represent the constituencies in West Africa, it is incumbent on parliament to make sure that they listen to the citizens. The executive actually failed us, as leaders, they've actually failed to listen to the citizens. They rather listen to the European Commission. Of course, we also call on the citizens across the region. Yes, people can demonstrate against the signing, they can call on their MP, what you are about to do is not good for us as a region.
They still maintain agreeing to the EPA would lead to the collapse of the manufacturing and other productive sectors of the economy.
We have what they call the export, with a prohibition on export taxes. How on earth will you agree that if I want to encourage the value addition in my local economy, I cannot do that? So once you, if you take an example of the scrap metal, something that is made available for local value addition within the local economy and creating jobs for people. And so as a region, we are saying that, look, from now on, we're not going to impose any export tax on any raw material that's leaving the country. And so the thing goes to Europe. They use it for their value addition and bring it back to us. And we are complaining of currency instability. So long as we keep on importing and we don't have a clear strategy as to how we can develop our manufacturing sector, we'll continue to complain about imports. We need to complain about lack of jobs. And so until we get that strategy right.
The Third World Network, meanwhile, plans to facilitate more interactions between citizens and Parliament to prevent the approval of the EPA.
That's it for this morning from me. The program continues with Benedict Owusu, who comes up next with sports. Good morning.
Good morning, and let's talk sports now. In Scottish giants Celtic are poised to join the race to lure Ghana World Cup winger Christian Atsu from Chelsea for a loan spell. Packard boss Ronnie Delia has confirmed that the Scottish champions are in the market for a wide man, and 22-year-old Christian Atsu is wanted by a raft of clubs in England, Spain and Germany for a 4-year-long deal after spending last season at Vitesse Arnhem in Holland. West Ham United and Aston Villa are known to be interested in a left winger, with Hamburg and Espanyol also linked. But Celtic, who were linked with Atsu before he quit Porto for Stamford Bridge in a £5 million deal last summer, hope the possibility of the Champions League football could sway a player who started all 3 of Ghana's World Cup games in Brazil. Atsu enjoyed a successful loan spell in Holland, scoring 5 goals in 28 appearances, but has ruled out a return to the Eredivisie this time round. So from Christian Atsu now to Jonathan Mensah, and he has admitted that he's yet to play at his best for the Black Stars. A Black Stars defender, Jonathan Mensah, says his best is yet to come from the Black Stars, despite putting in a good shift at the 2014 finals in Brazil. The Evian Tonon Gayad defender is seen as a natural successor to former captain John Mensah after bursting onto the scene in 2009 in Egypt. But there have been concerns about his slow progression, and the centre-back says there is more from him for the Black Stars. So we still stay with Ghanaian players, and Kevin, Prince Boateng and Sule Muntari have been named among the worst players of the 2014 World Cup by ESPN. The American sports broadcaster published a list of players it thinks underperformed by the end of the tournament in Brazil. Boateng was not impressive throughout the competition. Perhaps the decision by the Ghana Football Association to send Boateng and Muntari home for indiscipline might have contributed to their low ranking. However, the inclusion of Muntari in the list will come as a huge surprise to many Ghanaians, given the performances he put up in the Black Stars 2 matches at the tournament. He excelled in the match against the United States of America and was the mastermind of breaking up the fluent German midfield, resulting in Ghana's outstanding performance in the 2-2 draw with the eventual tournament winners. Other famous players like Spain goalkeeper Casillas, Mario Balotelli of Italy, Suarez and Pepe were included in the list prepared by journalist Greg Belly, who works with ESPN. So from the Ghanaian players, let's do some international stories now. In sportswear giant Adidas has signed a £750 million deal to make Manchester United's kits for 10 years for next season. It comes after US rival Nike decided to end its association at the end of the 2014-15 season. Nike has been paying United £23.5 million a year, and the new deal is worth a world record-breaking £75 million deal, which is equivalent to $128 million a season to the Old Trafford club. And Champions League winner Real Madrid, they have a 31-year deal with them, and their money is worth $31 million. So World Cup winner Toni Kroos' proposed move from Bayern Munich to Real Madrid could go ahead shortly, following the midfielder's victorious end to this year's World Cup with Germany. The 24-year-old, who became the first player born in the former East Germany to lift the World Cup, is still under contract at the Bundesliga champions until 2015. However, he has been linked with a switch to Champions League winners Real Madrid throughout the tournament. Earlier this month, reports in Spanish media had all but confirmed the transfer, with Real Madrid believed to be spending some €25 million on Kroos, who scored 2 goals and set another 4 during Germany's run to their 4th World Cup triumph. On Monday, that's yesterday, German football magazine Kicker reported that the announcement of Kroos' transfer is only a matter of time, and tabloid Bild reported that the midfielder could be unveiled in the Spanish capital as early as Thursday of this week. So, to another Bayern Munich player, Xherdan Shaqiri will not be allowed to leave Bayern Munich. The club's sporting executive, Matthias Sammer, has reiterated. Proud to the World Cup Switzerland international, Shaqiri voiced his discontent with his current status at Bayern. Shaqiri's second season at the Bundesliga champions limited the midfielder to 17 Bundesliga appearances, mostly due to injuries. Liverpool have been linked with making a move for Shaqiri, but his current club insists the Swiss is not for sale. In recent weeks, Bayern have been linked with Colombia international Juan Cuadrado, who plays for Fiorentina. However, according to Kicker, Sammer denied that the club have put in an offer for the attacking midfielder. So we still do some more transfer news, and Sevilla have signed Liverpool striker Iago Aspas on a season-long deal, and the Spanish club may exercise the right to buy the 26-year-old at the end of their campaign with a 3-year deal already agreed. So now Aspas joined Liverpool from Celta Vigo at the beginning of last season for a fee of £7 million. But the Spaniard made only 14 appearances for Liverpool, 9 of them as a substitute, and scored just 1 goal. His move is subject to passing a medical. So we'll go on and do some more other stories. And double Olympic champion Mo Farah has doubts on whether he will be fit enough to compete at the Commonwealth Games. Farah confirmed in June he will compete for England in both the 500-meter and 10,000-meter at Glasgow 2014. But Farah, 31, pulled out of a Diamond League event at Hampden Park last weekend because of illness. Farah has admitted to hospital in the United States of America with abdominal pains at the start of the month and had further tests in UK before pulling out of a planned mile race on Saturday in Glasgow. And just before I take leave of you, former World 100-meter record holder Asafa Powell and fellow Jamaican Sharon Simpson have had their doping bans reduced from 18 months to 6 months. Good news for the two, and the ruling by the Court of Arbitration for Sport means the sprinters are free to race immediately. So that's former world champion Asafa Powell and his colleague Sharon Simpson. Their bans have been reduced from 18 months to 6 months. So good news for Jamaican, the athletes in Jamaica. Now they will be hoping to represent at the Commonwealth Games, which kicks off next week in Glasgow. That's it for your sports. For me, Benedict Owusu, on the AM show. Roland and Mamavi comes your way and continues with it.